Why did I write the word banjo on this Post-it note?
Exactly. Yeah, I got to sharpen my hockey skates. Welcome to this episode of the Cool Dad Shirt Podcast.
Well, we put some pressure on ourselves to squeeze one more in this year.
Yeah, now this will take me 3 weeks to edit it, so.
That's right.
Hold on one second, Rich. I'm a mess here already.
Should we start the show now?
Yeah, we wanted to have one more last wrap-up show, lack of a better word. But I don't know what exactly to wrap up. I didn't want to talk about what we thought were the best episodes because I think they're all pretty great and pretty successful 1 year into our podcasting venture.
Yeah, likewise, I try to come up with, a list of things that we could review or some high points and stuff like that. But I think just to take a moment of what we accomplished, and, I think we talked about it in a previous episode. We had this idea, we sort of laughed about it. We took a crack at it and it was pretty terrible at the beginning. It was forced and awkward and we kind of had to retool and figure some stuff out. And I just setting something into motion is so important because when that happens, then the inspiration follows. And I was always concerned jumping into this that we would run out of ideas or, whatever. We tried a bunch of things. I think some things were fun and interesting and we'll keep developing it as we go. But it was a great year, and I'm very happy to have gone along on this journey and taken a chance and had a bunch of laughs along the way.
Yeah, thanks. That's well said, Rich. I remember some phone calls with you and joking about the idea. And like you, I was concerned about content, felt like, well, we probably shouldn't even consider recording our first episode till we feel like we have 3 months worth of content because I was fearful that we would burn right out and run out of things to say. And then suddenly, be sitting here with not much to talk about. But interestingly, it's amazing how much content you come up along the way, just thinking about and talking about trying to come up with content. You start paying attention to more things, subtle things, little things, and they resonate with you in some sort of way that you think that they might be worth mentioning on the show because they're relatable to maybe more people than just yourself.
That's exactly right, and I think it's exactly what you said. And it's how the human brain works. I think the more you look for something, the more you start finding things. And you're right. At some point, you start going through life and like, oh, this would be very funny. This would be very relatable. Sometimes you jot down an idea and you can't remember it the next morning, but it doesn't matter. Your brain is still going in the direction of building content and hopefully finding something funny. And I think we talked too. Is it fair to say? I think you agree. It turned out to be a little bit more work than we thought, but it also turned out to be a lot more fun than we thought.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. But the work has turned out to be pretty enjoyable and fun, especially knowing that you're actually contributing and publishing something that's real.
And the editing side, if you don't know, is where a lot of effort comes into this. And Mike does a great job. And it was good the stuff that you learned and refined the workflow and the processing. And I think our audio sounds very, very professional, and that's all on Mike. So well done, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you. It is nice to continue to educate yourself and learn some new stuff. And there was a lot to learn with the whole releasing and producing and publishing the podcast, but it's been a ton of laughs and a lot of fun all along the way. And it's fun to go back and take a look at some of the first stuff that we did. And I think we came out of the gate, maybe I wouldn't say a little higher than average, but we did our homework.
Yeah, I agree. And I also realize how often I say That's the one thing I've learned in the past year. I've been working on that, and I think my presentations have gotten better at work. We joked around that too, off air, about you start getting hypercritical of the way you speak and trying to make things better and smoother. And I think I've gotten better. That's one crutch that I still fall back on occasionally, but it's funny. It's interesting, right?
Yeah, you were talking about being a little overcritical on yourself, which I do as well. And I remember playing back the first couple shows and hating some of the phrasing and the wording that I constantly chose. In later shows, you start overthinking it. This happens to me. I start overthinking it. And now I'm worried about saying those words. So I'm not saying anything and I'm sounding even worse.
You're paralyzed with fear. And actually, it's well, like most things, like even when you're getting your picture taken, the more you try to pose, you got to look natural, right? The speech has to be natural. Like we overtalk each other from time to time, but that's how conversation goes. I have become a little bit more aware of how often I say and ah and stuff like that. Trying to work on that a bit, but it's got to flow and be funny.
That's true. That's true. The first shows when I was so overly conscious about saying those words, I would try to edit so many of them out of the recording that it would take like extra hours just to remove those words. We've had a lot of fun recording some of these shows too, and we've had some really funny moments, and we've picked up a couple catchphrases along the ways that we've carried throughout the programs, which has been a blast.
Well, I'm also hoping our strange obsession with Christopher Walken opens a door of opportunity somewhere, somehow. I don't know. That sort of became a thing that we kept falling into also, and maybe it'll open the door to something.
You never know. Maybe we'll get Christopher Walken on the show. Speaking of Christopher Walken, I love those Chuck Norris jokes
Oh man.
that you constantly see on the internet. I heard a couple the other day, and one was when Chuck Norris turned 18, his parents moved out of the house.
Okay, this is one of those things that never gets old. You could write those jokes forever, and they're always funny.
They are so damn good. I never get tired of them.
Tell me you have a few more.
I'm trying to think of some of them. I remember watching the reel about 9 times. Chuck Norris turned 18, his parents moved out of the house. Oh, the other one was once Chuck Norris overslept by an hour. Now we have daylight savings time. That was another one.
Oh, they're so good.
They're all so good. I mean, I'm almost jealous that some people are so brilliant to even come up with that stuff.
Yes.
I'm looking back on our year worth of shows here.
Oh, nice. Here's the show prep I did. Can you see my list?
It's a blank Post-it note.
Sorry.
That's not good,
again,
Rich.
I was overthinking it. I kept all week. I'm like, oh, we got to come up with something, a top 10 list or a year in review, and I paralyzed myself overthinking.
Again, going back to us having the discussion, it was great that we started to talk more frequently and more regularly. And as we did that, we shared a lot of stories about our kids. We both have 2 girls. So we shared a lot of common stories because they're similar in age and had some laughs about that and thought, that might transfer over and be very relatable to perhaps many other people. And it turned into us talking about our conversations we felt were so funny to both of us, we should record them. And that kind of led to, hey, maybe we should do a podcast. And again, like we mentioned, we were concerned about content and having a lot of material to talk about. And I remember we recorded a couple shows and they came off pretty good. I think the point that I knew we had something was when we recorded the show that was titled Band Stories and Jeff Beck. And we were talking about the passing of people. And do you remember the line you had said?
I don't know that I do. What is it?
So
this is exactly like recording the outgoing
here's the
voicemail
beginning
message on your tape answering machine. You almost wear the tape out on the first day you have it. Welcome to this week's episode of the Cool Dad Shirt Podcast. In this week's episode, we'll be talking about the evolution of the periodic table, correlation between the song Thunderstruck and Mount Everest, and a very touching tribute to guitar legend Jeff Beck. The guitar legend is perfect.
So when you rattled off the guitar legend Jeff Beck and we giggled about it in the background, that was really the point where I was convinced that I think this might be funny and interesting if we started really making a good effort at these. And I don't know, I think we've given it a decent amount of effort, but it's somewhat been effortless, since then, thankfully, and it's been super enjoyable. But at that moment, I thought it was so funny the way we sort of both laughed at it. I thought even if nobody listened, this is going to be fun enough to just try to do, every week.
You are exactly right, and we've joked about this many times that if we just keep cracking each other up, there's a naturalness to it, and I don't care if we just keep doing this for our own amusement. I am perfectly content doing that. But I do have to mention my anxiety has swerved into a new direction with Have we talked about this already? I think, did we talk about, am I repeating myself?
Yeah, there's
We
going to
had some stuff
definitely
that we do have some stories that don't make the show. So I have a recollection that we talked about something. Man, that makes me crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some redundancies. And it is
I-
just a matter of trying to remember, did we talk about that? But hey, that's just sort of part of our everyday life, right? I talked with you on the phone for a couple minutes this morning. You said you were going to the mall, and naturally the first joke I make, which is beaten to death, was, oh, be sure to grab an orange Julius in the food court, you know? I'm sure we've joked about that on the show, but as dads, and you just continue to carry those jokes.
I'm still laughing, so we're doing it right.
The orange Julius.
Do they still exist? I don't even know.
Oh no, the orange Julius is long gone, I'm sure.
All right, man.
All right, dude. I will talk to you
Sounds
later.
good.
Yeah, have a great day. Thanks.
You as well. See you, man.